I call the meeting to order, Tuesday, May 23rd. This is the Hanson Board of Selectmen, regular meeting 7 p.m. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. We'll move right on to public announcements. We have the Memorial Day Parade will be held on Monday, May 29th. The parade will kick off at 9:45 a.m. from the Indian Head School, proceed to the Town Hall Green for a ceremony at the Civil War Memorial, and then to Fernhill Cemetery for a ceremony and closing remarks. The parade will not return to Indian Head School. Brockton Area Opioid Abuse Prevention Collaborative and Whitman Hanson are sponsoring an overdose prevention training session on Tuesday, May 30th at 6 p.m. at the First Congressional Church at 639 High Street. For more information, go to www.opioidoverdoseprevention.org or call 508-742-4405. Cranberry Cove swim signups will be held June 3rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and June 4th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. 5 weeks of swimming lessons for $110. Beach passes are $75, $145 for non-residents. Beach pass is just $100 for non-residents when you sign up for swim lessons with a savings of $45. Ask about a multiple student discount also. Swim team registration is $50. For more information, go to Facebook at the Town of Hanson, Camp Kewanee, 781-293-2333, or email Mary Beth at mckay@hanson-ma.gov. United Farms 4-H Club 2017 Chicken Run will be held on Sunday, June 4th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Town Hall Green. 2 tickets for just $1. Face painting, balloon, animals, petting zoo, games, food, and 4-H demonstrations. For more information, call 781-927-9028. And again, that's on Sunday, June 4th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. the Town Hall Green. The Hanson Rod and Gun Club annual free fishing derby will be held on Sunday, June 4th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Town Hall, Wampatuck Pond. For more information, call Ernie at 508-846-4472. The Rockland Hanson Rotary will hold their annual fishing derby on Sunday, June 11th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Town Hall, Wampatuck Pond. And I'm told that they're going to be throwing them back, so there should be plenty of fish in the pond, okay? Upcoming meetings. We have the final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee on Wednesday, May 24th at 4 p.m. the police station. We also have Parks and Fields on Thursday, May 25th at 6 p.m. at the Sports Building. We have the Selectmen meeting on Tuesday, June 6th and Tuesday, June 20th at 7 p.m. And the Historical Commission will meet Wednesday, June 14th at 6 p.m. And we talked about swim-ups and the run. So we're good to go. Okay. As we move into our next item, we already read the upcoming meeting, so we're good. So now we will swear in the newly elected officials. I want to congratulate and thank Laura Kemet and Jim Hickey. Welcome to the board, guys. Thank you very much for coming. We'll guide you through as best we can on what we've done in the past and how we've learned. So we're ready to swear you in, and when you want to step out front, I think to meet Beth, please. Is it up step out front or does it matter? I think they want pictures and stuff, right? Yeah.
Together or separately?
No,
Separate.
yeah, well, seeing there's only 2 of them.
Well, I thought maybe people might want to take pictures, but okay, it's up to them.
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Laura, would you raise your right hand? Do you, Laura Fitzgerald Kemet, solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon you as a selectman, to the best of your abilities, in accordance with the bylaws of the town and the laws of the Commonwealth? I do. Congratulations. I can't. raise your right hand, please. Do you, James Hickey, solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon you as selectman to the best of your abilities in accordance with the bylaws of the town and the laws of the Commonwealth?
I do.
Congratulations.
Jim, were you really going to get something pinned, or were you kidding me? I think he said the microphone.
He did.
I know. I know. That's okay, no sweat. We also want to make sure that we thank Bruce Young and Bill Scott for serving in the past, and as part of this great democracy that we live in, we will move to reorganizing the Board of Selectmen, and I would ask...
I'd like to make a motion, if I could.
Absolutely, Mr. Mitchell.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate James McGann to be chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. I want to thank you guys for nominating me, Kenny, and thank you for supporting me. And whatever comes from this, I appreciate it, and I promise to do the best that I can, to be as fair as I can. And it's an honor to serve with you guys, honestly, all right? We'll do some great things more, right, in the next 3 years and so forth. Okay, anything further? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain. One abstention, 4-0-1. Thank you. And with that, we also want to move
I'd
to...
like to make a motion for Kenny to serve as vice chairman.
I second it.
Motion has been made and seconded by Laura Kemet. Discussion further? Can you be a good vice again? There you go, brother. Right
Thank you,
on top.
Mr. Howard.
Yep,
You're welcome.
and Laura too.
And
Okay.
Laura, too.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor of further discussion, any questions? Call the vote. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0 on that one, Mary.
Thank you, guys.
And with that, we also have the position of clerk of the Board of Selectmen. Do I have anybody who wishes to be the clerk for the Selectmen? Mr. Howard?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mr. Don Howard as the Board of Selectmen's clerk.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Hickey. Further discussion? You did a great job last time.
He
too.
did.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Nobody's fighting you for it, Don.
That's right. Okay, let's call the
That's
vote.
because you're doing so well with the iPads. That's why I did that.
That's right. There you
Okay,
go.
thank you.
You're welcome.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0-0. That's just about it on the reorganization of the board, is that right? I want to thank you guys. It went very smoothly. Mike, would you be okay if I were to jump to
Yeah, of
the
course.
appointment? Thank you. We're moving off down further into the agenda regarding appointment. We have item 8 on your iPads. Mr. Eric Olson for Parks and Fields position. He is currently on the Board of Directors Hanson Little League and Board of Directors Hanson Youth Basketball. I know Eric from the baseball league, and you've done a great job in the past, Eric. I'm glad to see you stepping up onto this committee. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to appoint
Second.
Eric Olson.
Motion was made and seconded by Laura Kemet.
Where are we appointing him to?
We're going to appoint him to Parks and Fields.
Okay.
Term to
wanna
expire
make sure.
6/30/18.
I'll read the term, I'm sorry, yes. Is it actually on the agenda? All right, yes, it is. Term to expire June 30th, 2018. Thank you, Eric, again. We have a nomination, we have it, motion made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. 5-0.
We have a
Thank
meeting
you,
May
Eric.
25th, Eric.
Nice job. Right off the bat,
Right
huh?
off the
There you
bat.
go, man. No worries. Okay, we have next, Should we move to the new business Class 2 and junk dealer's license, Mike?
Sure.
No, one's for hearing at 7:30. The class 2 is for hearing at 7.
That's right, too.
Let's do the election stuff, so I go back upstairs.
You got it, absolutely. So, okay, I want to make sure that I get it right. I don't know why my iPad is acting up.
It should be.
The voting machines?
Yes, it is.
Item 6.
Why doesn't mine say yes? Here it is. I see.
See, there's hearing set at 7:30. We shouldn't do it until 7:30. That's how they advertised it.
Item 6, yep, I was in the wrong place. So, I'd like to read to you, so we have some new voting machines that are coming in, and the process basically is that we've got to make it public, that we're removing the old ones, and we're letting the new ones come back in, and I believe is it the Attorney General's office gets notified?
No, the secretary.
The Secretary of State, I'm sorry. Per Mass General Laws, Chapter 54, Section 34, the Harvard Board of Selectmen voted on November 18, 2014 to approve the what?
She's just reading.
I'm just reading it. The purchase of the electric systems and softwares DS-200 optical scan voting machine to be used by the town of Harvard starting at the spring of 2015 town election. Per Mass General Laws, Chapter 54, Section 34, the Harvard Board of Selectmen voted on November 18, 2014 to approve the discontinuance of the current Optic Eagle machine prior to the spring 2015 town election.
I gave him that memo, so it explained it with another town, and
That's an example.
procedure.
That's the
Yeah,
procedure, right. So that was just an example of what we've done. And we also have two motions here that we need to read. I'll make them read, and I think they have to be voted independently or at the same time.
Independent.
Right. I move pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 54, Section 34, that the Hanson Board of Selectmen vote to approve the purchase of election systems and softwares DS-200 optical scan voting machines to be used by the town of Hanson starting at the spring 2018 town election.
So moved.
I need a motion seconded?
Second.
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 Okay, actually Laura beat you guys, so, all right.
That won't happen again.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
5-0 on this, Mary. Next is I move pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 54, Section 34, the Hanson Board of Selectmen vote to approve the discontinuance of the current Optic Eagle machines prior to the spring 2018 town election.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Hickey got all on that one. Okay, no further discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you,
Thank you, Beth.
appreciate it.
Good night, Beth.
Good night.
Okay, we are ready to, one is that's right, one is the Class 2, it's a hearing notice. That is the Badlands truck sales one, that's right. So why don't we just move Mike directly to your town
Mr. Chairman, you can move the junk dealer's license renewal without,
without,
now.
okay, cool, got it. Okay, that would be the King's Ransom, item 3 on your iPads. I'm sorry, Laura, if you want to.
No, it's okay. I've got the hard
You got the
copy.
hard copies, okay.
And I do it old school.
We have I'd entertain a motion to accept the junk dealer's license renewal,
So moved.
King's Ransom, 156 Liberty Street.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Questions, further discussion?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Laura.
I'm just wondering, have we had any complaints? Have we inspected these premises?
I've checked with the police, fire department, building department. They're all fine with the renewal, and their taxes have been paid to date.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Kenny?
That was my question.
Excellent. Okay, without further ado, if there's nothing more, we'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
5-0. Now, did you want to do town administrator's report, Mike?
It's at your pleasure, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to do it.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Laura and Jim. Hopefully, anything that you need, any help that I can give you going forward, I've got an open door. You could call me, email me, stop by. Happy to help you in any way that I can, and I fully expect the two of you to be successful members of this board. So congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to let the board know that I had two discussions with environmental partners over the past couple of days. One was in relationship to where we stand with the Route 14 project, McQuon Street. What I had put together was a quick meeting, because there was, I guess, some, I don't want to say disagreement, but there was some disconnects between some highway staff and what Environmental Partners was trying to move forward with. And I'm happy to say that those conversations went quite well, and everyone seems to be marching in the same direction right now. So I wanted to make sure that all that was talked through, that any miscommunication was taken care of. And again, I'm happy to say that it was a very successful conversation, very fruitful. And what I plan to do, especially since we have 2 new members, I spoke with the gentleman from Environmental Partners, and I will be bringing him in either on the 6th or on the 20th to update the new members and the older members as to where we stand. Not much has changed. However, what I would like to do is consider whatever date we do that as also as a working session, and have the planning board and any other appropriate boards come in, because what we need to do is they presented to us about 9 or 10 priorities that they see, and they want to go through in terms of, and actually I've moved on to something else, onto the complete streets. That was the second discussion I had with them. So they're going to come in and they're going to update you on, he's going to update you not only on the complete streets, but where the Route 14 project stands. So what I meant to say is they've given us 9 or 10 priorities for the complete streets, all with different amounts and different time frames. And what we need to do is winnow those down before June the 30th to submit those to the state. And you know, like I said, bring in the planning board and bring in highway and whoever else is appropriate, police and fire, make the decisions based on what you think priorities are, what you think we can afford, because it's all got to fit underneath. I think $400,000 is what we're going to get from the state to fund the priorities. So again, I'll set that up either on the 6th or the 20th, because I'm going to have to be able to coordinate that with a couple other boards. So, and I'm happy to say that's moving forward as well. That was another very, very successful conversation, and I have to thank Laurie Muncy, our conservation/town planner, for guiding us through that entire process. So far, it's been a very successful process, and I think it's going to do good things for the town. Following on in the vein of bringing the 2 new members up to date, at the next meeting on the 6th, I'll have Jay Tallerman in, who is our legal counsel, to update not only, again, the 2 new members, but the existing members as to where we stand in any litigation, outstanding litigation. There isn't too much out there, but you know, the new members should know, what's going on and what exposure, liability, what settlements we might be able to come to. So he'll come in and you can ask him any questions, and that will be an executive session because it's ongoing litigation. I wanted to mention to the board, and I will bring this up on the 6th as well, that the Calvary Baptist Church reached out to us within the last couple of days, and it was too late to put it on the agenda. They are seeking permission to have an event on the green on the 17th. Generally, we have the Board of Selectmen vote something like that. However, because of the timing, because they need to obviously make their plans and set everything up, I'm informing the board that I'm going to bring it up on the 6th. However, I just want to get a general sense if the board is okay with me telling them that they're okay to go ahead with the planning on the 17th. It's not a vote, it's just a general consensus.
What are they going to be doing, Mike?
It's a concert.
Concert.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll ask for an official vote, but my sense is that the board's not going to have any issues with that, so I'll move that forward with them.
That's on a Saturday?
Yes,
17th.
Saturday the 17th. As you might be aware, I sent out the memo that we discussed at the last meeting regarding the recording of meetings. I wanted to briefly mention that we got a very, very complimentary letter to the senior center in regards to the services that they had provided someone who had unfortunately just recently passed away. It should be in your packages.
Item 1A, item 1.
And if you will indulge me, I would like to read it.
Yep.
This is a big thank you and much appreciation to everyone who had a hand in making Hanson Day program happen. My mother, Thelma, who had dementia, attended the program for over 7 years faithfully. She went 5 days a week. It was absolutely lifesaver knowing that she was being taken care of. It was a joy for her and for us that she was socializing and doing activities that we could not make happen since we had to work. The arts and crafts alone have made so many memories for me. as I've displayed them throughout my home. Thelma absolutely enjoyed going and it kept her alive and well. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, at age 87, she became more ill and we had to resort to putting her into a facility, which broke our hearts. She has recently passed at age 89, and I'm reflecting on the past. I can't stress enough that the day program saved her from 7 years of being in that nursing home. It was letting her remain in her home with her family while being active at the same time. Thanks again, ladies. Continue to make people's lives better. You are very good at it. You will be in my thoughts and prayers forever. Sincerely, Laurie Kavanaugh, who is this woman's daughter.
Great job, Mike.
It's
A
wonderful.
great job to the senior center, to
seniors.
Mary and all her people.
They do a great job.
They do a
And
great
I don't
job.
think a lot of people know exactly how much of a good job they do there. They
And I
really-
believe that's why it's important to bring these to the public's attention, so they know that they have, number one, that facility there, and number two, what a great job they do. As sort of my pet project, the Tree City program, I did send out the application. It was received, and I'm expecting, hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so, to be able to announce that the town of Hanson has been certified as a Tree City. So, and we'll continue on every year with an Arbor Day event and some plantings. And again, it's just kind of a nice, fun community thing to keep moving on.
I just thought, Mike, you're planting them and Kenny's taking them down, so.
Yeah. Not taking any of mine down.
Keep planting them, Mike.
I wanted to let the board know that the rec commission moved on their summer hires, so they should be all set for the upcoming season, which I believe begins on June the 20th. I believe June the 20th, they're having a kickoff day, but I'll get that further information to you at the next meeting. So it looks like everything's moving forward. Last week, I alluded to the fact that we had, I should say that the Board of Trustees, the Library Board of Trustees, had voted on awarding the position of reference librarian to an individual, but I wanted to wait to make sure that we came to terms before I actually announced her name, and we have come to terms. Her name is Lindsay Arndt, and she will be hopefully starting within the next couple of weeks. And I believe that puts us at a full complement back up to the library due to the unfortunate circumstances that we were all aware of several months ago. Karen stepped into first the acting position and then the full-time director position, which left her position open, and she'd been going without that position filled for quite some time. So now there's a full complement up there, and hopefully everything is completely back to normal. Not that they were having any issues to begin with. And I believe that is all that I have, sir.
Thank you, Mike. We have a Class 2 used car license, but that begins in 7 minutes, right? So why don't we move?
7:30.
Yeah. Why don't we move to set meeting dates for July through December? Mary, did you attach?
No, I didn't.
That's okay.
Just,
You want to tell us just?
No, we can do it next meeting.
Okay, we'll table that. Okay, I'm
I
with you.
didn't
say
Right,
whatever Mary says goes, whatever she
That's
puts in,
right.
just do it.
I had great intentions, but we never quite got that far.
That's okay. No, usually what we get is a calendar with all the dates set out, and, okay, no worries. Then Mary, we'll get to it next week, next 2 weeks, excuse me, June 6th. So moving on to vote to authorize the town administrator to approve line item transfers in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 33B. This is item 5 on your iPads or your HUDs. It starts with General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 33B. At the top, you got it, Jim? You're all set? Everybody good? All right. So, Mike, do you want to just give us a quick, this is a lot to read, you want to give us a quick breakdown? Basically to approve.
There's no
line-
reading, other than the motion, there's no reason to get too deep into it.
Okay.
Basically, the Board of Selectmen in Hanson annually votes the town administrator to have authorization
transfer.
on behalf of the board to approve interdepartmental transfers starting May the 15th and ending July the 15th. Basically, what that is towards the end of the fiscal year, if we're running a deficit in one particular account and we've got a surplus in another account, we're able to make those small transfers internally without having to go to town meeting or going through too much fanfare. So I don't envision a whole lot of them. We have reached out to all the departments to see if they do have such needs. Again, there are a few, but the board should know that I do this in conjunction with the FinCom. This is not unilateral. So I just make the recommendation. I go before the FinCom, and then the FinCom also has to recommend it. So it's
moved.
there we go.
And it's got to be, it's not more than 3% of the...
No, they
of the
changed
annual-
that. It's
Did they change
completely
it?
changed. It's, there's no cap on the percentages.
There's no cap on the dollar amount either?
No.
Is it still
No.
5? Wow, okay.
No, that was a result of the Municipal Modernization Act that I referred to several months or so
Oh,
ago.
okay, yeah.
So actually, it really frees us up in terms of a lot more flexibility. And it also allows us access to accounts that originally they wouldn't allow transfers from.
So we have a motion by Mr. Howard. We need a second.
Second.
Further discussion. Mike, just to let you folks know too, I spoke to Chairman Mike Dugan of FinCom, and he, although it hasn't been presented to the board, he is in favor of this too. So that should make people understand it.
And I did have a question, just for the sake of transparency. So, people are voting on a budget that they think is going to look one way, and I totally understand, and I am generally supportive of this. But if I were trying to figure out and follow the money and see where it went, how would I know that if I was...
I'll announce it at the meeting,
Okay.
at the next meeting, after, I receive them and I approve them. I'll mention it either prior or just after the FinCom approves them. But
Okay.
when I compile all of those, I'll make it known to the board and to the public what we're doing in terms of moving monies around. It's never a great swing of money. We generally were able to live under the 3 or 4% cap. And again, it does allow us a bit more flexibility if we really have a problem. But our budgets are generally pretty tight. We do run a little over with sometimes some overtime if we've had some unforeseeable events, some police activity or fire activity or what have you. If we've got some highway costs that we didn't anticipate, but it generally isn't vast amounts. We're not moving around, tens and 20 and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So.
And you probably, reported during the TA report? Mm-hmm. You probably
Yeah.
send it during the TA report.
And that would be for each department that there's a situation in?
Yeah, it's line by line. So, we're taking X amount of money from the police expense line, and we're putting it in, X amount of money into the highway salary line. Boom, 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 boom. It's all drawn out. It's not one great big lump. It's pretty explicit.
Mike, what's the obvious answer? Why did they lift the restrictions? Just because
To make it, well,
it's only switching pockets, it's still within the town, I know, right?
yeah.
But it
Well,
might be-
again, it's. I think that the legislature and the governor, particularly the governor, because the governor was a selectman
Yeah.
way back in the past, has appreciation for some of the things that we work with or can't work with. So it gives us the ability, should there have been a real deficit, a real problem, to move, if possible, a significant amount of money. Again, it rarely ever happens. There's rarely ever that sort of a need. But it's against the cost of having a town meeting called just to have that sort of transfer taken care of.
Okay.
And I believe that they looked back and they saw that, on average, the amounts aren't really that significant, so.
Okay. Thank you.
And again, there's, not to belabor the point, but there is also the check and balances of the FinCom, and the FinCom can be pretty tight with a dollar, so.
Mike's good with that, that's it. Okay, so we have a motion, and it has been seconded, right? Why don't we call the vote? All those in favor? Say aye. 5-0, Mary, to support the authorization town administrator to approve line item transfers. Do we have time? We've got 2 minutes left, so we can vote the highway surveyor contract. This would be item 7 on your iPads. This, Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, well, Mike, we had met on these items, and the items in bold are what was corrected, right?
Or
Print?
amended, yeah.
Amended, correction, right,
And the board voted in executive session to support that.
right.
The employee did sign the contract and agreed, and in speaking with town council, what needs to happen, all these need to be eventually voted in public, what needs to happen is the 3 members that were involved in the executive session need to vote this particular contract.
Okay, so so Laura and Jim would have to abstain?
Yeah, but they, they need to be aware of what's going on, so
Right.
obviously they're privy to all that information.
Okay.
And that's going to be the same when we take care of the fire chief contract.
Fire chief too, okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept the
Yeah.
highway surveyor's contract.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? Laura?
Yeah, and this will, it's the same question I have for the fire chief, too. You guys make reference to a performance review evaluation tool in there. Is there a way that Jim and I could get a copy of that? Does that exist, or is it just sort of?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny you should mention that. I believe I might have said it at the last meeting, that I'm going to start my reviews, my annual reviews of the employees that I oversee next week. So I've put together what I'm going to use for a tool, and my plan was to give it to the entire board in terms of what I'm going to use, and then you'll get copies of each individual's review as well.
All right, thank you.
Would it be similar to the one that we saw last time, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a motion made and seconded on the highway surveyor's contract. Further discussion? Any other questions? Just 3 members voting. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, and those abstaining. I need to call it. 2 abstaining. Motion carries for the highway employment between the town of Hanson and the highway surveyor. Next, we have the fire contract. Is the only change on this one the date on the top that was crossed off and written
Yeah.
in? So this one was just a minor date change at the top of the agreement.
Yeah,
guys?
and the question there, Mr. Chairman, was we had the board vote that at the last meeting. However, just to be, to make sure we have our T's crossed and I's dotted, we wanted to make sure it was on an agenda. It was not on the agenda at the last meeting. The reason that I brought it up is the sitting board who had negotiated was there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that the board that negotiated it was able to vote it. But just in the spirit of making sure that everything is, on an agenda going, like I said, crossing T's and dotting I's, I wanted to have the board, the 3 members that participated in that, vote it as an agenda item.
Gotcha.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the fire chief's contract.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? Okay, calling the 3 members vote. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. 3-0. Those against? Those abstaining? 2 abstentions. Okay, that moves that along, and we should be moving to the junk dealer's license renewal.
Class
Excuse me,
2.
the Class 2 used car license, Badlands Truck Sales. This is a hearing, and if I'm not mistaken, it is item 2 on your iPads. I'd like to read the hearing notice. I believe I'm obligated to. The Hanson Board of Selectmen will hold a hearing on the request of Timothy O'Brien at 218 Mill Road, East Sandwich, Mass., for Badlands Truck Sales, LLC, for a Class 2 used car license at 68 Industrial Boulevard, Suite 2, Hanson, Mass. Said hearing will be held today, Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017, at 7:30 p.m., actual time 7:33, in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, Town Hall. All right, so he's here now, is that correct, Mr. Ryan? Hi, Mr. Ryan, why don't you come on up?
We have to have a motion to open the hearing.
Okay,
A roll call vote.
I make a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
Second.
second motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Donnie?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Yes?
I'm in favor.
Yes.
Yes. 5-0 on the yes. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien, for coming today. I appreciate it. You want to just give us a little bit background on it?
Yeah, it's mostly an online thing. Nowadays, it's all eBay, Craigslist, so I'd only be looking for probably a 5-car license at the most. There's no repairs or anything that get done there. Everything's outsourced to either Scott Tarbox and Bridgewater or on-the-line diesel repair and half that.
Do you do specialty cars or what?
Mostly trucks.
Trucks?
I have a pretty good thing going with like utility companies, like say National Grid or something that gets rid of their trucks, so.
Very
A
good.
lot of times I get pretty good deals on pickups.
Are there any additional questions from any member?
Where is that? Is that the industrial
It's
park?
the
off
old
of
Buckley
Franklin
building,
Street?
like Alliance Power, Carry Oil,
The bucket truck.
with the bucket trucks.
You know what it is, Donnie? You good?
Up on off of Franklin Street.
Yes.
The 2 cul-de-sacs at either end.
Yeah.
I took a ride up there today.
Sid?
Go
Yeah.
down
only-
there and take a left, and it's down on the left, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes,
Okay.
only because I was concerned about how many cars, and you had said it's online, because I was, no one would see them
Right.
driving
Yeah,
back
it's
there.
Almost all online nowadays, yeah.
Right, and,
Sometimes they before they even make it to Hanson or Sandwich, I live in Sandwich.
okay. But it would be no more than 5 cars.
Yeah,
It's-
max there, yeah.
Okay.
And you've been doing this for a while, or?
This past year,
Okay.
probably about a year. But I have no license, you're only really supposed to sell, I don't even know what it is, maybe 5 cars a year or something like that.
Thank you very much. No further questions? Motion, I would entertain a motion to accept the, forgive me. To approve, to approve the Class 2 used car license for Badlands Truck Sales at 68 Industrial Boulevard.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion?
Thank you for starting your business in Hanson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Or is that? No, okay.
Does it have to be roll call vote? That's what Donnie's going to ask.
Yeah, it probably should.
Let's just do roll call vote.
Okay,
Donnie?
yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0 on the roll call vote.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded to close the hearing for the used, Class 2 used car license for Badlands Truck Sales. All
Yes.
those- Roll call.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
5-0 on the closure. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Brien.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
And thanks for
Okay.
doing business in our town.
Pop, they have to sign it tonight, once they sign it on 17th.
Okay.
Oh, you can pick it up
I
here.
got some stuff for you.
Oh, thank
Oh, we'll take the checks.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Waiting, I mean.
You heard, Kenny? Don't let him leave without the
Yeah,
checks.
don't let them leave.
Thanks, Mr. O'Brien. All right, cool. So we have next on our agenda, under old business, is the vote to authorize the use of a Gator ATV at Camp Kewaunee. This was mentioned last week, and I think we stated that Emery Buzan did not need to come, but it's part of one of the bylaws that we have on ATM usage. And if we had an organization that needed to use it for business purposes or what have you, that they would come in front of the board, and I believe that's what this item is. I would entertain a motion to allow the Recreation Department and vote to authorize the use of the Gator ATV vehicle at Camp Kewaunee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? Or-
Yeah, it seems to me that these guys aren't probably the only committee or department that have got a vehicle. So I'm wondering if we could proactively reach out to police, fire, the other guys who might have these types of vehicles and maybe, kind of with one fell swoop, give them all relief. Because what I'd hate to have happen is, we can obviously vote on this, but what I'd hate to happen is unwittingly to have these guys illegally violating the bylaw without thinking about coming before us. Anne Marie was the first, early adopter, but I'd like to see if, we can, maybe if Mike or Mary could reach out to them.
It's in the works for the next
Okay.
meeting. Yep.
All right, great.
That would actually be a bylaw change, too. We'd have to have it approved at town meeting, right?
What's that?
If we were to put language in the bylaw that basically says,
No, it's just a vote to authorize use
Right.
of
Oh, I see.
town-owned vehicles.
Yeah,
So
that-
like
So
it
it would
says,
be
the
a permanent vote?
bylaw requires the permission of the Board of Selectmen.
right,
So this we'll pick the departments that actually need that
I
type
see what
of
you're saying.
access.
Kind of like a blanket vote, not changing the language of it.
Yeah, it would be like evergreen, but I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
because right now, the bylaw requires the exception. You
Exactly.
could also circle back at some point and change the bylaw to make that exception permanent, but we get the same place, right?
Yeah. And like I said, we realized that once we took a look at this motion, at this request, that, as you said, there's probably other departments in other locations that are going to use their stuff on public property. So, yeah, we're working on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have next our,
Did we actually vote?
Vote. yeah,
oh, I'm
gotta
sorry,
vote.
I apologize. Call the vote to authorize the use, was it seconded by Kenny?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it- Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, cool. I agree, I think that's a good idea, Laura. I personally like the bylaw change because the minute meetings can get lost, of course, but not lost, but you know what I'm saying, Mary. It's harder to find than the bylaw. Volunteers are needed on several committees: agricultural, capital improvement, disabilities, I'm sorry, it says disabilities finance, but I guess it,
Disabilities, comma, sorry.
sorry, okay, energy, Memorial Day, Patriot Observance, recreation, 200th anniversary, and Nathan Thomas Mill committees. So we would ask people to please step up and submit an application to place themselves on one of those committees. And, of course, new faces are always welcomed. We really need to say that. I think we were just saying that earlier today,
Yes.
right?
And Jim, may I just
Absolutely.
comment? We really want people to help us. We need help. We need people on these committees. And Mary, can you just tell people where they can find, the latest and greatest, like, for instance, next week, maybe that, something was filled or whatever. If they're ever curious or they want to know, gee, what committees have got openings, where would I find?
I'll put it up on the website.
Okay.
Probably Thursday, I'm not going to be in tomorrow, but the list will go up on the website for looking for volunteers. I believe there's a button on the front page for employment volunteer opportunities. If they click on that, they'll have a list of
Okay.
And in the
committees.
form too that they fill
And
out?
yes, the application for
Excellent.
appointment.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I wanted to specifically mention one board that we created just recently, the Disability Board. That has some very specific requirements in terms of membership due to statute. And basically, what we need, what we're looking for, again, the requirement is the majority of the commission members shall consist of people with disabilities, which makes sense. One member shall be a member of the immediate family of a person with a disability, and one member of said commission shall be either an elected or appointed official of that town. So we'll need some elected or appointed official, and we're also going to need, like I said, somebody who has a family member who is disabled. And the rest of the board, if possible, should be filled out with people with disabilities. So it's a very specific sort of mandate from the state as to who can serve on that board.
And, Mike, can you expand on the definition of disabilities? Because I think sometimes traditionally people are isolating that to mean physical disabilities. Does this include emotional?
Yes.
and that type of thing?
Yes, it does. It doesn't
Okay.
just have to be a physical disability. That's kind of I don't want to say a catch-all phrase, but yes, you're correct. There are other sorts of disabilities. And, anyone who has a question about it, anybody who wants to investigate being on this board and their eligibility, please give me a call or come in and see me, and we can have that discussion. And hopefully we'll have people come forward. I know that I had been in contact with somebody when we originally considered putting this board or creating this board who wanted to be on it, so I plan on reaching out to her, and we'll go from there.
Now, did you say you wanted a selectman? Did you want that? done
Well,
tonight?
an elected official or an appointed official. It doesn't need to be a
Doesn't have to be
member of the Board of
selected?
Selectmen. It does not. Although, obviously, if a member of the board wishes to serve,
Place a name onto it.
place the name, and we'll move it at a future meeting. Just let me know.
Do they also work on the ADA stuff, Mike? American Disabilities?
I believe that they have a
Out of
hand in
town.
it. Yes. Yes.
Contribute to the open space plan
Yes.
on that stuff, okay. Okay, so again, back to that, we need volunteers to step up on some of these things, and we could certainly use some new faces, and of course, it's as many as possible. Next item on our agenda is the discussion regarding the Indian Head and McQuon School Priority Repair Committee. One of the first things I'd like to do is see if we can change the name of that and shorten it up.
We should change it to the School Repair Committee.
I think that would be,
You guys decided that like 2 meetings ago.
no,
No,
we have
we
to.
talked about it.
We had to vote on it as a board, because we're changing it. It has to show that you're changing it from the old to the new. Would you, I would entertain a motion, well, first, before we go there, why don't we just open it up for discussion? We're going to do it a little bit backwards. So we're bringing this about because if you'll notice, guys, you should see item 9 on your iPads, or you should have minute meetings from June 3rd, 2014, and another one from June 17th, 2014. Just some history. On June 3rd, 2014, Mr. Young suggested that the committee would be comprised of 7 Hanson residents, 1 selectman, 1 member of the Whitman-Hanson Regional School Committee's Facilities Subcommittee, and 5 citizens at large. It said non-voting members were to be the building inspector, 1 school committee member, and up to 3 additional members of the committee. Now, that was the original time on June 3rd, 2014. On June 17th, 2014, we had an adjustment to that board, where the board would be selecting 5 individuals to serve as citizens at large on a 7-member committee. Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, but the motion was made and voted on to increase the number of voting members of the Indian Head and McQuon School Priority Report Committee from 7 to 9. Is that correct? 7 to 9 members?
Correct. On July 8th, we wanted to change the voting membership from 7 to 9.
I'm sorry, on July 8th, that's
July
correct.
8th.
2014, so it was almost 1, 2, 3, right after 3 consecutive meetings. Bringing the total membership to 12? Is that right? No. It's got to be 9.
Well, the original membership, when we created it, was going to be a 7-member committee.
Yep.
And then the non-membership included the building inspector, 1 school committee member, and up to 3 additional members. I think it was because we had so many people apply, and they really wanted to accommodate everyone who had applied.
Okay, gotcha.
But the actual composition of the committee, when it was first constituted, was 7 members.
Okay,
And then later on, I think the people who were interested attended the meetings, so they wanted to broaden the size of the committee to 9.
okay. So the 9 members would be considered, one would be a Board of Selectmen member, the other one would be the building inspector, and the other one would be somebody from the school committee, and not necessarily the regional facilities meeting, because we've had Bob Hayes on that board. Mr. Young was good enough to point out that at the time, we had Bob Hayes on the board. We also had Mike Jones and Chris Howard, and as many of you know, Mike Jones and Chris Howard were elected to the school committee. So essentially, there's 3 seats that we need to follow up for that. My question here is, with the open discussion here, is should we continue this board? Do we see a benefit to it? And what are your thoughts on it? Should the direction on how it should go? Maybe what I should try to do is also read to you folks the mission statement of the committee, if you feel that this should change. The responsibility of the Indian Head and McQuon School Priority Repair Committee will be to develop and present the Board of Selectmen a viable and realistic plan to identify the immediate capital and related repairs necessary to keep the Indian Head and McQuon schools safe, secure, and comfortable for students, faculty, and visitors, to be responsible for developing accurate descriptions of the prioritized repairs and the estimated project sorts to be used for town meeting articles, to recommend the various immediate repair projects necessary to be funded to keep these buildings open and functional for the immediate future until other long-term solutions are explored. So I'm jumping into this now because we may, if we vote not to continue with this committee, then we don't need to change the name, obviously, right? But if we wish to continue it, then we can certainly change the name, keep the composition to what it's saying here for 7 members, or 9 members, forgive me, and either maintain the mission statement as it was before. As you all know, too, another item we've probably got to discuss is what we're going to do with McQuon School, since it's going to be closing soon, right?
Yeah.
Should we form a separate committee onto that would look into what options to present to us, to the town, as a solution?
So a few meetings back, we had, the subject of this committee had come up, and we had talked about the fact that generally, maybe we need to incorporate all of the town-owned buildings into this type of a committee, because they are all in disrepair, and we seem to always be surprised when a roof leaks and something goes wrong. And we don't really have to do that. We can be more proactive. We can plan. And it seems to me like we're really lucky to have a group of people who have got the kind of experience that a lot of these guys are bringing to the table, that are willing to do that for the school. And I think, to build on what you're saying, Jim, McQuon, I would like to see us have it separate, because we've
gonna
got a
take a
lot
lot
of
of
other
time.
things to look at there, like, do we sell, do we rent, do we tear it down? What are the costs versus benefits for all of those options? And that in and of itself is a lot of meat on the bone. So we've got that, and then I think I'd like to see us taking a look at Hanson Middle, and the town hall, and the library, and the senior center, all of whom have got issues with their buildings. Thomas Mill, I'd also include in there as well, even though we've got a committee, it's a town-owned building, and they've got some needs. So, I would just throw that out there for some discussion, that we've got a need for a group to be looking comprehensively at these buildings and prioritizing and addressing them. I certainly understand why initially this was focused just on those two schools, but I think given the fact that McQuon's getting mothballed in another year, or potentially mothballed, and we know it's not going to have children in it after 2018, at least not our children, the Whitman Hanson children, I think we've got a perfect opportunity to revisit this.
I agree, or I think it's,
Doesn't-
what do you think, Don?
Well, doesn't the school department more or less take care of the schools, the Whitman Haven Regional?
Yes, sir.
And so that would be combining the school with the town hall and the other ones? Or,
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yes, I do.
well, you got the
I see
police
what you're
station,
saying.
the
Yeah,
old
I
fire
see what you're saying.
station.
Yeah, I don't know
the
if
new
you
fire
take the,
station.
even though I agree we gotta do something with the town buildings, I don't know if you take this committee and incorporate town buildings, because you've got school committee guys on there, and they're not gonna be, we do have to go there, and we just have to figure out how
Okay,
to
maybe
get
we
there.
do a
I
separate.
just don't know that
Yeah.
this committee is the way to do it.
Well, I think Laura's got the right idea, but, like Kenny just said, if somebody is at Parks and Fields, with that building, they have no idea what's going on at the library.
Right.
But the people at the library know what's going on at the library, but may not know what's going on at Thomas Mill. So whatever kind of committee you make up, whatever these buildings are going to be and how many they're going to be, you need to have somebody from each of those committees to be part of this other committee.
I like where Jim's going with that, and to hearken to what Mr. Howard said, so it's kind of like, to me, it seems like it's evolving to maybe we need two
committees.
possibly even three,
I think
if you're
three,
including
yes.
McQuon as that separate kind of arm, which I know people are loath to create new committees, but I think, I've struggled with having a Mary Collins have to by herself advocate for what she needs to have done at the senior center. And similarly, the police chief and the fire chief, we can do better than that. We can harness those groups together and have a group of professionals that are looking at what they need. And there's scales of economy. If we find out the firehouse needs to have a new roof, and hey, so does the Parks and Recreation building, we can probably get better prices if we do that type of a thing. So, I think it will help with the capital improvement matrix, which we've universally said we need to do some better prioritization. So,
I agree. I think am I wrong, though, Mike and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, the discussion regarding, it only talks about the school repair committee. Are we deviating from that
Well,
by
I don't.
talking about this?
I don't think the discussion is necessarily a bad thing or a deviation. I don't think at this point you could create that committee,
I
or
understand.
any of these committees at
We
this
can put it on the
particular.
next agenda.
Yeah, at this particular meeting, and I
Yeah.
think that this discussion is healthy, and I think it's related to what the agenda
Buildings.
topic is. So I think we're okay. But what I would suggest is we take, Mary and I will take the feedback that we've just heard, and we'll put it on a future agenda, the 6th or the 20th, whenever it's appropriate, and then you will be able to act on creating one, if not two more committees. But I think to address what's on the agenda item right now, you need to make a determination of what you want to do with this specific committee which has a specific mission.
Okay.
And Jim, just to add to that, I don't know if we want to make 2 or 3 more committees. We obviously have openings in the Thomas Mill, Recreation, Hanson 200, Memorial Day, Patriots Observance. So we have trouble with the committees we have now, and to try to make more committees. Is there somebody that is here that is part of the, the Indian Head and McQuon Committee that might like to?
Well, Mr. Hayes,
Hayes.
I'm sorry, Bob, I didn't even see you there. How you been? Good to see you. Good, thank you.
I think, Jim, if anybody followed even some of the interviews, I think this town is committing itself to death.
Yeah.
Okay? I think the problem is, we have committees standing that we need to be more firm with, such as, you've got a committee called capital improvements. When it's brought to the town never votes to fund anything that capital improvement does. So you can put 50 committees out there. When it comes forward to the town, and I'm just gonna say, if the roof is leaking at the library and for 10 years, they say don't fix it.
Yeah.
Unless the committee's getting up there and doing it themselves, we can have all these committees, and Jim makes a good point.
Yeah.
You've got a ton. The McQuon and Indian Head Committee was put in there after the field school project to fix those things. They did a fabulous job. Mike, and it might have been what pushed Mike Jones and Chris Howard to become school committee members. When they first got on the committee, they were not members. That's how we ended up with 3 school committee members, because they became members that were already on the committee. That wasn't done intentionally. It wasn't stacked that way. They just, Mike's got a profession he does, and he was an ad, and Chris Howard's a banker, in case we needed that. So it was a great form, and as you know, and Mr. Young and the rest of the people on the committee did a good job, and we got it done. We got the roof projects done, we got the repairs done.
But I
You
do,
could have 10 other committees. You could have a committee on top of the Camp Kawani Committee, and the Camp Kawani Committee is there to tell you guys
how that's working.
what needs to be done. And it's up to you
Well,
guys to vote
okay,
and
but
make sure it
don't
gets
you
on the
think we
matrix.
should be at least having the middle school part of this mix? Like, we're not
Yes.
even talking about I get that it wasn't as dire a need as, and I'm not saying another committee, I'm saying within this committee that's already
Yeah.
existing.
I agree with
Maybe keep looking at McQuon till we make the final decision, keep it in there, keep Indian Head in there, add in the middle school, and I get what you're saying, push on the capital improvement to really prioritize.
Oh, and help them. They
Yeah.
kind of have been out, not on an island. It was nobody's intention to do that. The matrix just gets pushed off so far because of the tightness in money in the last 15 years, that a lot of these improvements never got done, and it was really no one's fault.
Yeah.
There was no money. So, I mean,
So you're
another layer, I
Or was he saying
I don't know.
You're right.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
if I can make a suggestion,
Yeah.
and maybe this will bring a little finality to this, I would suggest that the board consider, number one, renaming the committee to the more generic name that was mentioned prior, and to, as Selectman Kennett just mentioned, to include the middle school.
Yes.
And then we can look at addressing the other issues at another meeting, but this will
I get you.
kind of bring this full circle.
Yep. Mrs. Frizzetti.
I was just gonna suggest, couldn't we just name it the town repair building committee, town building repair committee?
Yeah.
And that would encompass.
That would encompass for yeah.
Everybody, it would encompass the schools and the individual buildings and everything else, I mean.
But the problem was they don't want, like, they don't want some, you may have some officials there who are not necessarily, they're more concerned with like the school buildings than they are the town buildings. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to waste their time, for lack of a better word, but, they probably still live in the town anyways, they would care. But I understand what you're saying. If we had one to do it, that might be something to think about.
You'd have to have one member, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You'd have to have one member like from fire, excuse me, one member from the library, somebody from the schools representing,
Right.
if you were gonna create that committee.
You might have to rechange the whole structure of the meeting and all the members. I do have a question, Mike.
Yeah.
I remember Ron San Angelo had put together something, it was a facilities repair report. And was he looking to, was it a new position in the town? As a
Facilities.
Yeah.
facilities manager of some
director.
kind?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it's in the matrix, we just haven't funded the position yet.
Okay, okay. Maybe we should relook at that. 'cause
Well,
that would
that
address-
can be part of the conversation that
Yeah.
we have at a future meeting.
Yep,
Yep.
okay.
And in the meantime, we can look into seeing, I always like to look and see what other towns are doing. And,
Yeah.
there very well could be a model that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm a wonderful plagiarist when it comes to those sorts of things, so.
Okay, so is the general consensus to continue with this committee, the repair committee, rename it to the school repair committee,
Simple.
all right?
And then add the middle school.
And add the middle school. So we'd rename it to school
And
repair
we can always
committee
revisit down the road. If we have to dissolve the committee,
Yep.
then we can do that.
and add the middle school. So I would entertain a motion to continue to change the Indian Head and McQuon School Priority Repair Committee to the School Repair Committee and add the Hanson Middle School within that framework.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion?
That still is, I mean, the Whitman Hanson School, Ernie does the repairs on all the schools.
Yes.
Just that. He doesn't go to the fire department or the
Right.
police department.
Right.
So, I mean, that should be separated.
And if I'm not mistaken, this board was mainly made up of members from the building community, right, Mike? Bob, there were
Yeah.
people from roofing, and they were really good, because if we got a number or a contract or something, we could have them review it, and they had a lot of feedback to some of these things.
You went to a bunch of the meetings. It was
Yeah.
a very, very good committee.
It was a good committee.
We got a lot done quickly.
Yeah, we even had somebody who was a former teacher on it, Mariah, and
Yep.
she gave a lot of input from the school side, so.
Well, it was good. It really was informative. I mean, we came, we met here. It was a smaller venue, so we got things done in a little bit, we expedited things quicker.
Yep. I
And we
remember
had
that.
all the bids put out through the school district, which we have to do. And it seemed to get it done.
It was
as we
very
saw.
quick.
The
We
proof
held-
is in, go look.
Okay, so,
No, I was just going to ask, Mr. Chairman, so that obviously the committee is still going.
we're still gonna continue it, I guess, yeah.
It's just changing the name.
We haven't voted.
So do we have to deal with any of the members of that committee being on the school committee?
I think so afterwards, so let's vote on this item, and then we'll move to the members. You're right, though, Jim. We'll move to the membership of that, in terms of which one of the selectmen on this board would wish to be on that. And I believe Bruce has already sent his email that he's resigned.
Yeah, he sent his resignation, which we'll address at the next meeting, because it came in after I posted the agenda.
Okay, so we can't do the membership until the next meeting?
Well, he's no longer on the board, so
Right.
he was a selectman's representative, he's not a selectman anymore, so,
Okay.
I mean, that's just,
Okay,
we can
gotcha.
do that now.
Okay, so we have a motion in front of us to rename the...
To change the name of the Indian Head in McQuon School Priority Repair Committee to the School Repair Committee.
And add
To add the middle school to the mission.
And it's been made and seconded. Further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 on that, Mary. Now, do we go for a selectman representative on it, Mary, or what? Can we? So we have an opening, selectman representative on this. Is there anybody who wishes to throw their hat in the ring or try to go for it? All right. I would like to then, if that would be okay. I'd like to step up as a
Mr. Hickey
selectman.
might be looking
Unless you,
for,
what do you think, Jim?
Brian, why are you looking at
Jim, do
me
you want to
for?
do it? Do you want to try it or no?
I'll give it a shot. I mean,
It's
you
pretty
got-
good. It's got a lot of,
You're already
builders
on
and-
another committee, right?
No, I'm not on this committee. I'm
No, not this
Oh, I'm
one,
on
but-
another one, yeah. We're on the Mars one, too. We got to get going on that one, I know, but yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, do you want to take it?
sure.
I would entertain a motion to place Mr. Hickey onto the school repair committee.
So moved.
Up second.
Motion made and seconded. All further discussion, questions?
you got the name right, that's good.
Jim Hickey, yeah. Didn't I say Jim?
Do I
Hickey?
get a
No,
name?
not Jim Hickey.
Oh, school repair. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do I get a nameplate over there, or?
Yeah, you'll get
We're
one.
working on it, we're working on it. We're just not in the budget right now, Jim.
I can bring it with me to
We
meeting
got
to
the-
meeting.
It's duct tape and black marker, yeah. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, Jim, 5-0. Bruce can give you some guidance on that, too. He can, if you had some input if you want it.
Great.
But you'll have to reorganize that committee and let them know.
I'm sure I'll be calling.
You'll see your wife in 3 years, don't worry.
Yeah. All right, so, just to move on now, we have the approval of minutes. I apologize, my phone went off. I'm making sure my wife's away and making sure my house is not on fire. My kids are home, all right? Approved minutes, May 1st, 2017. I think we have the members present at that time were Don Howard, Bruce Young, James McGann, Kenny Mitchell, and Bill Scott. So my assumption is that Laura and Jim, you probably would want to abstain from approving these minutes.
Yes, correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for May 1st, 2017,
Second?
and May 16th, 2017.
Want to second that one, Donnie?
Yes, second.
Kenny's getting smarter, he's combining his items now, see? All right. All right, all further discussion, any questions on this, guys? Nice job on this, Mary, so. All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And abstaining.
All right, you'll be
You
fine.
you were on a roll there for a
Yeah.
while there, Jim.
Jim, you're abstaining,
I
right?
did.
Laura did too. So it's 502, and the next item we have on our.
No, 302.
I'm sorry, 302, I apologize. Yep. These 7 members, too many. Committee reports, Monpont Pond Committee, Mr. Howard.
Haven't had a meeting.
No meeting yet, okay.
We had one, but I will say Silver Lake is almost full, thanks to Mother Nature and
Yesterday.
Monpont Pond facility. Cyanobacteria is starting again, so I don't know how long it'll be before they won't be able to take water. But Mother Nature has certainly helped them out this year.
Excellent. Thank you, Donnie. As we don't have any, we can't put you, Mr. Hickey, on this one yet, because you haven't.
I have
been
nothing
there.
to report at
Nothing
this
to
time,
report on
Jim.
this one, thank you very much. Yeah, there you go. The next item we also have is the Highway Building Committee, and I would ask Mr. Mitchell.
Well, what I'll do is I'll reach out to Chairman Bill Scott and see if we haven't had a meeting in a while, so we kind of need to regroup and go over some things, and so see if we
Make sure
can,
status
yeah,
is
so we haven't met in a while, so
Okay.
I'll reach out to Bill and, so we can get a meeting going, and I'll bring that date back.
Now, was he chairman of that committee too, right?
Yes.
So you'll have to
Yeah, he still is.
reorganize? Was he chairman of the selectmen?
Yeah,
Was part of it.
my understanding, we thought about this a little bit in the last day or so. Mr. Scott wishes to remain on the committee.
Okay.
The way the committee is constituted, to the best of my knowledge, is you've got 2 selectmen representatives on that committee. So obviously, Mr. Scott is no longer a selectman, but again, wishes to remain on the committee, and I think that makes sense, because
Absolutely.
he's gone so far with it, and he's very passionate about it. So I think at the next meeting, we have to have another discussion about how we want to go forward in terms of the membership of this subcommittee, this ad hoc subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen, whether or not we wish to continue to have 2 members of the Board of Selectmen on and just leave Kenny on, whether or not we want to bring a second member of the Board of Selectmen on. I think we just need to take a look at that in terms
Okay.
of how it
Okay.
makes sense
No
going
problem.
forward. I'm not, since I wasn't around for the creation of that board, I'm not entirely sure what the rationale was, and I'm not saying it's good or it's bad, but what the rationale was of putting 2 selectmen on this
There
particular
wasn't
committee.
at the time, just Bill and I both wanted to
Do it?
be involved in
Okay.
it, so that's what happened, but there was no.
Oh, all right,
It
then,
had to be 2 selectmen.
all right, then, but we would still, because the vote was, put together the Constitution in which 2 selectmen would be members, I think we'd need to revisit that if it's the board's wishes to change it
Absolutely.
or continue on with the 2 members. But again, not to drone on and on, I think it's something we need to address at the next meeting.
Okay. So we'll add that to the next meeting, talk about the composition of the Highway Building Committee and what to do moving forward. Next item we have is the final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee. Mr. Howard.
Well, I think Mike know anything else further about that?
Yeah, and I apologize, usually I have that in my town administrator's report. We're near the end of the tunnel on this. There have been some requests that have been agreed to DEP in terms of using more of the the street sweepings piles that we have up there. So basically what we're going to do is remove that entire pile and use that as part of the fill. It's going to kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone. In addition, we have asked DEP, and there's some testing that's being done right now, if additionally we can use the stuff that we scooped out of the catch basins, the catch basin materials, because those could have a certain degree of salt or other sorts of hazardous materials. We did need to test it to make sure that the DEP will allow us to also distribute that throughout the site and then cap it off. So again, it really would be, and I would expect we'll get permission, it really will be a win-win, because we would have to not only bear the cost of moving that stuff off-site, but potentially pay somebody to take it as well, because again, it's potentially, nasty stuff that nobody's going to want.
Okay.
And that's the area, as you face the building with the circle driveway in front of it, it'd be facing north. I think the area is to the right of the foundation that was taken down last fall, but it burned.
Yes.
I think they're gonna remove some trees there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the other part of this is, as Don mentions, is we've received permission from the Conservation Commission to remove some, basically scrub pine and basically undesirable vegetation, so that we can actually cap it and slope it off, so there's not as much of a steep drop as there is right now. And that's where we would be placing the catch basin materials. And again, we would more than likely
And then
be required
covering it
to.
over with the
Yes.
sweepers.
Yes.
So then would I be wrong in saying that that committee will have to figure out what's the next step, right? What options,
We're just about to that point where we're ready to go forward
right?
in terms of what do we want to see there. And
Maybe-
it's a nice problem.
Yeah, maybe bring it to town meeting as an option of, or whatever, right? And they'll have to figure out how to hash it out, sorry.
I have a question. Are we staying within budget over there?
Oh,
Or is
well,
it-
we're well under budget. Well under budget. Yeah, we're going to see a rather significant savings in terms of what we had put aside both through free cash and through the borrowing.
Okay, excellent.
And, more than likely we'll come back and we'll rescind the rest of the borrowing and be done with it.
What was the amount, Mike, do you remember? off the
We
top?
had, if I'm not mistaken, we had in total allocated $1.8 million. We borrowed 1.2, and we funded the rest with free cash.
Okay.
The bid came in, I believe, around $900,000.
Yeah.
And it actually is, they're running under the $900,000. So you put on top of that the engineering costs and the monitoring fees, and I think the project's probably going to come in around probably just south of $1 million.
Okay,
That's great. So about $800,000 less.
yeah. Yeah,
That's not too shabby. Mike.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice problem to have, is to start figuring out what to do up there, so I'm looking forward to that.
At some point, we should change the name of that committee and have them start working on
The new name?
ideas of
We're
doing
not
with it.
changing that name.
Not tonight.
That's the,
This is it. This is the final Plymouth County Reuse
That's the
Committee.
final one.
We're sticking with it.
All our request is that the town will accept us to save a portion of it, so for another water tank up there. I'll have to have that land deeded to the water department.
By the way, Donnie, nice job, not just you,
What's
but the
that?
whole committee.
Oh, the committee.
Mike,
Wasn't just me,
great
the
job up there.
committee.
I know it was, but you know what I mean? Great job up there. We had a question.
We lucked out.
Mr. Hayes.
Mike, you gave your report on the Indian Head Committee.
Committee?
Obviously, the Indian Head roof has been done for quite some time. The selectmen voted a while back when we talked about shelving McQuon to finish that bid that we had already gone through to do the few things on the roof. 99% of it has been completed. We are waiting for a door, an access door that accesses the roof without going out up on a ladder. You can access it from the stage because the door had all de-lammed and it was letting some moisture inside. That was being made. I believe it's either done or going to be installed very, very soon. Christine was following that, monitoring that, because obviously we're getting the bills as we go, and it was a short amount of money.
And this
that's
was repairs to McQuon, right?
This is McQuon, that's kind of where that stands.
Yeah.
So we were tightening it up anyway because it was something that was already voted.
Okay.
And depending on what happens, it's all town money.
Yep.
So if the town uses the building or whatever, as you talked about having a committee to figure out what's going to happen, that needed to be finished. So it's pretty close to done. And if it isn't, I'll report back to you what's going on at the next meeting. But I'm pretty sure it's probably done by now.
Perfect.
They were just, like I said, they were prefabricating a door.
And there were some leaks in the older part of the Indian Head, is that right, Paul, or no? Am I
Yes.
mistaken? And those,
Yes,
I know
and that-
Ernie was working on getting those
Yeah,
done.
and that bad rainstorm, but I believe he's already got most of that sealed up.
Great.
So I believe I think he said, because I was at the last municipal meeting, but I got in later, that one of the vents tops had ripped off or something and left some exposure and it's been repaired.
Excellent.
So that's all tight also. And that was on an older part, that has nothing to do with
The
the
new
memorial.
roof, yeah, it was in the oldest section of the building. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. So
Mr. Hayes, can you guys keep us in the loop on any decisions you make with the McQuon, or anything at all, like moving forward? Okay.
I mean, pretty much that the vote has been cast, you guys have been notified that it's going to, not this coming school year, but the next coming school year, it's coming off. Also, we might add, we're trying to get a committee going, and everyone's going to get letters.
Another committee, that's
Right.
Yeah, of every department, so we can start a budget process now.
Within the
So
school.
we can get input from fire, from police, because it's all the same pocket.
right.
If we can get everybody sitting in the rooms and get this priority stuff together of who needs what, it may be easier to bring to the town at town meeting in a more concise way. So on June 12th, I know it's not in your agenda, but it's kind of a school thing. We're trying to get all stakeholders in, including input from all citizens. And I announced this last night at a school committee meeting, to see if we can't, get some, I mean, the priority repair committee worked fabulous, did a fabulous job. If we can just get some people together and see if we can't include, the selectmen, the fire chief, the police chief, Mike, for some collaboration, maybe we can come up with some really great ideas on how to fund some of this stuff without all the issues.
At once, yeah, and near the time.
Because it seems like we always start at you, and part of it is because the governor's budget doesn't come out. But we start all of it, even everything that you guys have to put on warrants for town meeting. It gets pushed around, including, I mentioned the capital improvement committee, it all gets pushed around. Well, if they come and they say, hey, we can do this way. And well, maybe we can do this way. And as Mike says, he meets with all kinds of other towns that may be doing it a different way. Maybe with some collaboration that way,
We can work it.
we minimize the project, cut right to the chase, and come up with some funding, save the town some money, and take care of all of our buildings at once, because we're all taxpayers, at the end of the day.
Bob, you're planning on doing this with both towns, right?
Yes,
Together?
yes,
Okay, so everybody knows where everybody is at?
exactly.
Okay,
Because the school issues affect both towns.
yeah.
They really do. When there's issues that are to be done in Hanson, it also affects Whitman because of the funding source.
Yeah.
As you know, with the swing that we had last year on almost a 60-40, it affected both towns. And it was great. It came out perfect this year, and everybody, it seemed to work. But it was a lot of collaboration that was great. I mean, Mike was involved, the town administrators from both towns. I thought it worked, didn't you, Mike?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's what we're looking to do.
Bob, to Kenny's, I think this is what Kenny's question was. As you guys start to map out the moving pieces to, leaving McQuon and relocating the kids, can you just tie us in? I know you will anyway. This
Most
is not a
certainly, I'll be here for your
question,
meetings.
but-
That's why I came
Yeah,
tonight,
yeah.
when I saw the report. I will be reporting to you every moment of what's going on, all the way to the part of, very similar to what we did at the high school, when we had surplus equipment.
Yeah.
We offered it to all other town departments, who needs what, kind of like they do with surplus trucks or cars. Can we kind of exchange it between departments and maybe save somebody some money,
Yeah.
because it's all the same pocket? Well, we're going to have that. I mean, when McQuon gets shelved, so to speak, all that equipment that's in that building is not coming.
Right.
It's going to be surplus and excess, and maybe a yard sale of some sort. I mean,
We're saving for the other schools, it could be whatever.
Exactly.
But you might even have people in town departments that need something like filing
Exactly.
cabinets and that type of stuff, you never know, yeah.
exactly. Because I know if anybody knows, while we're on this subject, the sports building has been remodeled, fabulous job. And
Oh, I heard, that's
I
right.
know they could use a conference-type table and some chairs, because it's going to be more meetings held up there.
That's right.
And sometimes you see those kind of like people are downsizing, you see them for free. I've got trucks, I'll go pick them up. We could use some of that stuff if anybody's got any office-type furniture for that type of a room, just putting it out there. Thank you, I appreciate all the collaboration, I really do.
All right. Thank you for the updates. Grateful. Without further ado, I think we're ready to move to executive session. And before I call the roll call vote, I need to read, to conduct strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, administrative professional, dispatchers, fire, highway, and police unions. I would entertain a motion to move to executive session, the roll call vote.
So moved.
Moved and, I need a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we are now in executive session. I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming and watching tonight, and we'll see you on June 6th. Once we adjourn, by the way, we will be adjourning to regular meeting and then canceling the regular meeting also.